Every year that we make one of these videos, we tend to spend our intros lamenting the state of the games industry and the world in general. We worry, we fret, we panic. But I sincerely doubt you need a reminder about how dark 2024 has been, or yet another primer about how much work is ahead of us to fix this industry. So, I think this year, we'll fast forward to what got us through it. Let's talk about our love and appreciation for the games that defied all odds to get made and to reach us. This year was defined by games that seemed built to help us through the nightmares. More often than not, we could see the fingerprints of developers processing the same kinds of turmoil and repackaging it into their art. The 2024 class of nominees gave prominence to empathy. They communicated the power of community and resistance in all its forms. And they just reminded us what joy in gaming feels like. It's been another year of incredible games. So much so that when we had to cut our list of the year's best down to just 10, we were left a little bit emotionally drained. And even though it gets harder every year to pick just a handful of standout games, we're thrilled with this year's list. It's full of games that truly lived within us all year. Whether we went back to play them constantly or thought about them damn near every day after credits rolled, we're so incredibly honored to introduce you to VGG's 2024 Game of the Year nominees. Balatro, developed by Local Thunk. Amidst all of our Game of the Year nominees, there's exactly one game that I've played almost every single day since its release. And it's the demented little poker roguelike that took the world by storm. Roguelikes are always built to be as addictive as possible, but Local Thunk tapped into a well of satisfying design to make this card game one of the biggest games of the year. It constantly surprises you with how it builds upon the familiarity of the poker format and with the endless synergies you can build when picking which poker hands to chase or which jokers to bring with you. There was no better feeling I had while gaming in 2024 than getting my first ever Balatro win. And if you somehow haven't spent time with this masterpiece yet, go buy it, lose a week of your life, and check back in. Now excuse me as I stop editing this video and get back to the real work of chasing a gold stake win. Great Godgrove, developed by Limbo Lane. The lessons Great Godgrove teaches us can be summarized easily. First, communication is key to understanding your fellow person. Second, sucking the thoughts out of your friends' minds to flirt with gods and save the world is not only appropriate, but encouraged. And third, cowboy fashion is so back. This apocalyptic queer narrative puzzler cements Limbo Lane as one of our favorites in the industry, especially coming on the heels of their phenomenal 2019 release, Smile For Me. Great Godgrove oozes warmth thanks to the studio's one-of-a-kind art style and ever-present oddball humor, complete with full-on live-action puppet cutscenes. It made us cry so hard as it left us reckoning with ideas about mortality, legacy, how words are wielded, the fragile yet vital bonds of community, and doing the best we can while we're here. It's everything I hoped it would be and then some, so consider this segment me sucking the message "Play Great Godgrove now" out of my mind and shooting it into your face. Thanks. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, developed by RGG Studio. I love my shirtless punching boys. I love a portrayal of masculinity that's nuanced and diverse. I love the Like a Dragon series. The latest game, Infinite Wealth, exemplifies everything I've loved about the series, while improving on some of the faults from their first attempt at an RPG in Like a Dragon. I maintain to this day that Infinite Wealth has my favorite turn-based RPG battle system in years, and that its Animal Crossing-like minigame, Dundoko Island, is itself an excellent game, nearly worthy of nomination. But what truly solidified Infinite Wealth as one of the best games of the year was its ability to deliver silliness and tender emotions in equal measure. No other game could turn men in diapers into an emotional goodbye between a man and his dying wife quite like Infinite Wealth. And if you're ready to embrace a game that offers switch-ups like that, Infinite Wealth is the GOTY nominee for you. Until Then, developed by Polychroma Games. As a Filipino American, Until Then is a special game for me because it's one of the rare video games that genuinely represents my culture.
Uy! Philippines! Philippines! Woo!
More than that, though, this narrative adventure has an evocative sense of place unlike any other. The granular detail in both their pixel visuals and deep soundscapes grounds you in its setting and makes each narrative moment much more impactful. The emotionally sincere dialogue transports you back to a more vulnerable and universally awkward time, when the world felt like it was always crumbling and texting your crush was the hardest thing you've ever done. And just when you think you understand it, its eventual twists and turns disorient you and make this special slice of life something fresh. We need more Filipino representation in gaming, but Until Then has certainly made up for lost time.
Motherfuckers wanna make a statement. Cigarette on forehead, face on pavement.
I'm Your Beast, developed by Strange Scaffold. No game made me as feral this year as Strange Scaffold's I'm Your Beast. This fast-paced FPS thriller sees you inhabiting the worn boots of Alphonse Hardin, a man possessed, who's using the ruthless training given to him by a morally bankrupt government to tear that same government apart, all because they just won't leave him alone. Playing it makes you feel as powerful as the man crushing waves of enemies under his heel. But this is a Strange Scaffold game, so it's more than just a simple power fantasy. Its speedrunning format trains you to eventually be the kick-ass Alphonse Hardin you have within you. RJ Lake's soundtrack is, to no one's surprise, one of the best of the year, and the writing and vocal performances of its actors make it a more impactful narrative than you'd imagine. Strange Scaffold taught me how to embrace the beast inside of me, and that guy says I'm Your Beast is an easy GOTY nominee. Sorry, not sorry.
Call your favorite agents, I'ma teach you to quit. There's a beast inside me. Fucking let it out, throw away.
Metaphor, Refantazio, developed by Studio Zero. Persona 4 and 5 are some of the best RPGs I've ever played. And I genuinely wasn't sure if that team could capture that same magic when they left the series behind to make what would eventually become Metaphor Refantazio. Well, not only did they capture that magic, they found ways to improve on the formula to make an RPG that's reminiscent of some of the genre's all-time classics. Metaphor is a more mechanically sound RPG than its predecessors, removing some of the barriers to allow for genuine experimentation through the game's archetype job system. Metaphor's story, which tackles discrimination and the indoctrination of a frustrated populace, feels painfully prescient. Despite how heavy-handed it can be at times, Metaphor's lessons feel so necessary, and it's such a step up from some of the more problematic choices in the studio's past. But let's be honest, the real reason Metaphor got nominated is its menus. Have you seen these things? Do you see how artistic they made the menus? Game of the Year nominee, easy. Astro Bot, developed by Team Asobi. Yeah. Astro Bot's a nostalgia bait 3D platformer that's essentially a commercial for the PlayStation brand. That can be true. But what's also true? It's one of the most joy-filled, fun first games I've played in a long time. Nearly everything in this game feels built to make you smile. Whether it's the way the little bots wave at you from inside your controller, or the constantly evolving level design in each new planet that you visit. Astro Bot captures joy in ways only Nintendo used to be capable of. And what else is gaming about other than that? PlayStation has been desperate for a proper mascot since the days of Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. And now, Astro Bot has stamped his place in the brand's lexicon forever. Look, just give Team Asobi a blank check and just get them to make these games forever. That's all we're asking. Come on. UFO 50, developed by Mossmouth. Okay. Before you yell at me, yes, I'm kind of cheating by putting this game on my list. UFO 50 is not just one game, but a collection of 50 of them. So I guess you could say that this year's GOTY list is actually 59 games long because UFO 50 is here to stay. Mossmouth stole my heart from the word go, as the package presents itself as a digital restoration of a long-lost fictional console and the 50 games that were made for it. As you play through them following their fictional release order, you'll watch the developers and the technology they work with improve with each game. Forcefully limited by the technological limits of 80s game design, the creativity of each game's creator shines through. When it's all said and done, these 50 games outpace many games released in the modern era, and that's cooler than I can even explain. There's an unexplainable nostalgia in playing these fictionally unreleased games, and a pure joy in re-entering an era unhindered by the baggage of modern game design. UFO 50 is so special, and it deserves your attention.
Mother loves you and cares for all your sisters.
1000 Times Resist, developed by Sunset Visitor. Hecky Grace gamers, All Mother blesses you, and Reviewer is here to tell you why 1000 Times Resist is one of the most magnetic games of 2024. You observe this sci-fi narrative game through the attentive eyes of Watcher, one of a sisterhood of specialists keeping the world running in the far-flung future after a cataclysmic global pandemic destroyed nearly all human life. Its story is all-encompassing and richly dense, jumping deftly from point to point as it works through generational traumas, the gravity of a rapidly unfolding pandemic, revolutions, complex mother-daughter relationships, faith and allegiance, and life as a first-generation immigrant. As you pull on the string and watch this emotionally raw journey unfold, you find that the game digs deeper and deeper into your psyche, and before you know it, it's 6 months later and you can't stop thinking about it. 1000 Times Resist is a masterwork in building and decoding its own mythology, creating a word that's so alien and off, but so human and truthful. Red to Blue, 1000 Times Resist awaits you.
Trust in her teachings. Do your duties and carry out your function for a future far from sin or incineration.
Rise of the Golden Idol, developed by Color Gray Games. Oh, we're so back, baby. Rise of the Golden Idol is VGG's first ever return entry for a series since we started collecting GOTY nominees 4 years ago. We called the first game the truest detective game, showering it with praise for the ways it asks you to rummage through people's pockets and piece together the answers to questions you weren't even sure were being asked yet. And Rise of the Golden Idol only turns that mystery solving up to 11, taking the series out of the grimy 18th century and straight into the grimy 1970s, where technology reigns and sex, drugs, and disco have taken hold. The basic premise is still there, but now the game presents its cases as interconnected memories from the jump, having you sleuth the immediate crime in front of you while considering its greater implications in the larger story being told in that chapter. When it all coalesces into one greater narrative at the end, the aha is bigger and better than ever. And we hope Color Gray Games never stops delivering those moments of detective bliss. There you have it. The 10 best games of 2024, made by 10 teams of incredibly talented individuals whose art is needed and appreciated even more in the face of the hard times ahead. Yippee! If any of these games intrigue you, please, please, please check them out. And if there are any games that inspired you the way the nominees inspired us, let the world know. This industry trains its fan bases only to speak up when games make us upset. But sharing love when games move us? That's what Video Games Are Good is here to normalize. If you want to find out more about the nominees, we're continuing the new tradition this year. All throughout December, we'll be streaming spotlights for each nominee in the lead up to our Game of the Year winner reveal at the end of the year. If you need something to do in the meantime, check out videogamesgood.com to read our in-depth reviews and our recent interviews. Thank you for watching, and thank you to our patrons for supporting this video.